All right, guys. We just got done working on the mini cabin
30-second stocks.
and finishing up the woodshed solar array siding. And I came in here and checked the batteries, and they're very low. They're like 49 volts.
Been raining for like a week now, guys.
Yeah.
They've lasted us a week though, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, we've had intermittent here and there, but we haven't had a good solid charge on them in weeks. I mean, they've filled up to like 50%, but not full. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can plug in a generator to that.
So we're going to show you how that works up and see
Yeah,
how he's...
I'll try to take you along.
See how fast they charge up and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Because it's not going to be sunny again for until I think like 4 more days.
Yeah, so we need to do it either way, I guess. So I'm going to go outside, try to show you best I can. It's going to be dark. Anyway, come hang out with me, I guess, for another half hour. So, or this might be the beginning of a new video. We'll see. Let's go get
I'll
something.
be making him some street tacos here soon for dinner, so.
Yeah. So I might have to have a margarita on a Monday. Alright guys, let's go out. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see anything because I don't have tons of lighting. I don't really even want to do this right now. I'd rather risk it, but can't have all the power out, I guess, at night. Alright, here's my wire that I'm going to put into my AC input. Alright guys, I think I had the camera running on sideways mode for the last 5 minutes, which is even more fun because I'm messing with this and I should be just getting it done. So the batteries are low. They're at 49.3 volts, which this is a 51.2 volt battery. So the inverter is not happy, and I'm not sure if it's actually super low. I think it is, but the communications with the batteries in this inverter are still not fixed yet. I actually emailed them today before any of this just to see what this is doing. So I have this on off-grid mode, I think. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to change my settings to plug this in. But I got an extension cord, just a 15 amp. It's actually 13 amp, so I'm not impressed with that. But hopefully I can put a little bit of voltage through this. So here's this into here. This could charge our batteries. I don't know how long it would take. I don't know how long it would take at 10 amps. Long time. 1,000 watts. And this cord's not made for that. So I'm hoping we could at least just test this. If I have to bring a power station in here and use our transfer switch, I guess we will. But I'm going to go get my generator. Alright guys, I've been out here for like an hour. I put in the AC plug to the generator. I switched everything on. I messed with the parameters for like probably an hour, and it's been pissing on me the whole time. So we went to backup plan where we turned everything off. I've changed every setting this thing has asked me to try to get it to charge from the grid / a generator, and it just keeps going into like default and resetting. So I powered down the batteries and the inverter. We're running through our transfer switch with the Pura 3 right now. It's the biggest one. It was just easy to grab and it's full. So I'm gonna let this run the cabin for the night, and then I'll charge it back up with the generator tomorrow morning if we need to. And yeah, this is why I was worried about technology. So technology doesn't like me, but anyway, I thought it would be as easy as just plugging in a generator to a hardwire plug, but obviously the parameters aren't as easy as I thought. So hopefully the power station takes care of us for tonight, and we'll see you guys in the morning and hopefully do a little update. All right, good morning, guys and gals. We had a rough experience with the solar. The batteries were dead, and I could not get the generator to charge our batteries through our inverter charger. It was late at night, and I couldn't call SunGold. You know, they run business hours on their service lines, but they were available this morning, and we got it figured out. So I have charged it a little bit. I charged it with that wimpy little cord. Check it out here. Let me show you what we did here for all of you who love our solar videos and love seeing real life experience. We were dead in the water, and we were getting a low voltage alarm and failure, and it was turning off. It was turning everything off. So we hooked up to the power station for the night, ran on our transfer switch, did a few things here, so let's check it out. First off, I got to get some kind of light set up in here so I can see at night without a flashlight. But so we've had like a few little things. The inverter is charging. Our solar panels are getting around 200 volts, which they're 200 to 220 volts DC. So they're getting a little bit of sunshine. It's peeking through the clouds. Not sunshine, but light. And we're pulling about 300 watts. We're getting about 300 watts. We're getting about 10% efficiency with, look at this. So like, that's just because the clouds are a little thinner right around the sun right now. So if we could get 300 watts even on cloudy days, that'll help significantly. The only downfall is like my numbers are based upon our old system running. In our old system, the inverter was very efficient. It only drew, I think, like 10 or 15 watts. This thing draws about 80 or 90 watts. Cabin used to only draw about 100 watts all day long. Well, now this is drawing about 100 watts all day long, and we're still running our cabin. So even though we have significantly increased our solar array and our battery storage, we've doubled our consumption now with this inverter. Now this inverter is going to heat this room just with its consumption over the winter. We do have a little surprise coming up. I'm going to make some modifications. We're going to add a little fun system to this to help as a backup and to experiment a little bit. So I'm excited to get to experiment a little bit over the years now, in the future, now that we have a system set up and we've like learned enough to get to that point. So we had our transfer switch hooked up to a power station overnight. We got our 110 volt extension cord. This is just a thin 13 amp cord. So I cannot pump a lot of energy into the batteries using this plug. But let me show you what I had set up wrong. Maybe you'll learn a little bit here. So we had our settings, which there are 58 settings on this unit. It's really hard to see in the light here. Like if I close the door, you can see, but there are 58 settings. You just push the little settings button. There's 58 settings. A lot of those are just for like time charging, for if you were on the grid and you were charging a battery bank, yada, yada, yada. But number 58 is a split phase or single phase. And I was running this on split phase, but I was just leaving the L2, the second line, blank. And that's worked, and it was okay. But when you're hooking up to a 120 volt generator to charge your batteries, it's looking for 240 volts. Now, if I had a 240 volt generator, I believe it would have charged just fine. And if we were using it in split phase with, you know, the system in general, if we were using 240 volts and I hooked up to a 240 volt generator, it would have been fine. But we're using single phase 120 volts, and I had L2 naked, like just completely empty. Well, when you switch it to split phase or single phase, you have to put a jumper between L1 and L2 on both the input and output of the AC. Check it out. So we have our output voltage right here. There's our L1. Our L2 is the black wire, which is a jumper over to L1. And we have our neutral ground. We do the same thing with the input for charging with the generator. Ground, neutral, and then L2 jumps over to L1 and goes to the generator. As you may or may not know, like pure sine wave inverters are important, and you get like a wavelength with your energy source, with your power. And with split phase, you have like basically fluctuating currents. But when you put it on single phase and do that jumper, I guess it takes all the power through a single wave, your single phase, and we're using that power for our cabin. But in order to charge it with the generator, it needs to know that it's only getting 120 volts. It only needs 120 volts, not 240. I thought I had it set up fine. I didn't know that that setting had to be switched from split phase to single phase. So what we're going to do today, I have this set up with this wimpy little cord, and all I could do is pump like 10 amps into this safely. I want to be able to pump 30 amps into it safely. So now I want to take this cord out and replace it with this heavy duty 30 amp plug. I was gonna buy the stuff to build my own, but I have this cord and I forgot that I couldn't find the right adapter to make my own cord. So I'm gonna use this 30 amp TT30 plug. It goes into my generator just fine. I'm gonna cut it in half, run the wire over here to my all-in-one inverter, so then we can charge with 30 amps rather than 10. And then we could probably charge this battery bank up in 4 or 5 hours rather than 12 to 15. There are also settings on here. So setting 28 on here, you could actually adjust how many amps you're pushing into your batteries. If I try to push 30 amps through this wimpy little cord, it would get hot and melt it. And we don't want that. So you have to be careful. You have to be safe. Hopefully it works out. So check this out. Alright, so obviously I don't want to have to pull my generator out of the barn every time I want to use it. So our generator is going to get located over here behind the solar shed. It's almost like I left this like this on purpose. There's like a little 2-foot overhang. We're going to put the generator here. I'm going to move all this junk, get the generator here, run the line, and then we're fired up, ready to go. We're probably going to box this in at some point. Over the winter, I don't want the generator just sitting out in the elements. I don't think we're going to get that today. We got other projects to do. But I do want to get this set up. So hang out with me. Let's see if this works, and then I'll show you it working. I'll show a little bit of manual charging with the generator and show you how that works. All right, guys, just real quick, since a little bit of blue sky is popping out. It's 10:18. Let's see how many volts or how many watts we're getting. All right, so the sun is shining on the panels. 1.7 amps. Yep, we're getting 600 watts. 303.3 kilowatts on both strings, PV1 and PV2 0.3. So those are equalized. So both of those arrays have equalized. Now I took my solar tracker down. 0.4 kilowatt, 0.5 kilowatt. Sun's coming out a little bit stronger now. So we're pumping about 1,000 watts into these guys. 0.5 kilowatts for each array. They're just stacked on top of each other. But now that the solar array tracker is not blocking the bottom array, we're good to go. Batteries are sitting at 53.1 volts. They're, you know, around 60-70%. Sorry for the glare. So yeah, 0.5 kilowatts on both, 0.6 kilowatts, 1200 watts, which the solar panel array is. It rained all day yesterday while I was doing this, and yeah, we're doing good. A lot of water on there still. So anyway, guys, let's get this project done. I'm excited. Alright guys, so we got our extension with our 30 amp plug and 10 gauge wire right here, ready to go. I'm going to take this little wimpy cord. It says on the cord that this will do 1600 watts, but it says also on it that it says 16 AWG, which is 16 gauge, which is really small, which this wire is really small. And it's not solid strand. I can't believe it takes that much, because it normally, like 14 gauge will only take 15 amp. So I can't believe, I mean, I guess if this is 16, that's why it says 13 amp, but I just didn't think you could push that much through it. I thought it would be more like 1,000 watts. Anyway, so let's swap this. Let's up our ante here. 10 gauge, 6T gauge. That was only in there for, like I said, emergency reason. I like put very low trickle charge on the batteries with that generator. So this will work great. Let's get her done. Now in theory I should turn all this off, but Jen's working and we're charging, so I'm just gonna be careful. All I'm doing is touching these 3 wires. This input AC. I'm not touching anything on the solar or output side of the unit. So be safe, turn it off, don't do what I do. I did check voltage. Just make sure there's no backfeed or trickle. And the breaker's off on the side, so it can't like backfeed through the system. There we go. Now I do need a piece of this to jumper. So I'm gonna go get a little jumper piece. Be right back. All right, guys, the boss is done working. She's out here to check up on me, make sure I'm getting stuff done.
Did a good job.
Why? What happened?
Why? Because I had to like cook in the dark the other night. So that's why.
She did have power for a whole 10 minutes while I went and hooked up a power station.
At the crucial parts of dinner.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody starved to death, right?
Nobody starved to death, but still.
But I failed her. I didn't keep her under constant care. So
I'll maybe forgive you.
So
we'll have to see if
this works.
Yeah.
So we got the new wire hooked up to the solar shed, guys, and the new inverter charger. Let's go fire it up. I'll show you the final product. And I guess not really final because we got to box it in still for the winter, but it's in functional state.
We got lots of things to box in, so
Yeah.
we're going to do a whole video for that.
Yeah, we got another winter prep because you can't fit all the winter prep in one video.
We got to box it in.
Yeah. So check it out. Check out what we did just super quick, and then we'll fire up the Jenny and see if it is pushing power like it should. They say what?
I said, with today's limited sun, are we getting a little bit of solar?
Oh, check it. Do you know how to check it?
No.
Hit the little status or the little gear. So guys,
I'm learning things, guys.
Yeah, Jen knows nothing. So this is proof that if a dummy like me could do it, and then Jenny can figure it out, that
it's just watts and volts and amps is too much conversions for me.
But if we could do it, there's a chance for
it.
you to do it. So you push the little gear, you can see the voltages in the top left corner, right? 170 and 160.
Like 180 to 160.
Yeah. So that's 2 different strands. That's our 2 different arrays. See how it keeps jumping from PV1 to PV2?
Yeah.
They're both going to be the same because they're just right next to each other, right? Now before, when we were shaded with the tracker, the bottom one was like 40 volts lower than the top one, but now it's completely similar.
On average, about 180 to 200.
Yep. Now that's just volts, so that doesn't really tell you anything in itself. It just tells you that you're getting okay light. So if you push the arrow up, you do it. Push the arrow up. Now you have 1.1 amps.
Yeah.
So if you times that 1.1 amps by 200, you should be getting about 200 watts.
Okay.
Now push up again. Now you see it says 0.2 kilowatts.
Yeah.
And 0.1 kilowatts. What's 0.2 kilowatts?
2 thousandths.
2 thousandths of what?
A kilowatt?
Yes. So how many watts is a kilowatt?
1,000.
1,000 watts.
What?
That's what the K means. 1,000 watts. So 1.0 kilowatts is 1,000 watts.
Okay.
So what's 0.1 kilowatt?
1,100?
Yes. 0.1 is 0.1/10 of 1,000 watts.
Okay.
So you have 100 watts. Is it still jumping between 1 and 2?
Yeah.
So we're just getting like
minimal
200 to 300 watts right now. Now if we had the app still up, we'd be able to tell, but we don't.
Well, we deleted the app because the app is a data sucker.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had this hooked up with the app for the last 2 months, and you need Wi-Fi to do it. There may be a way to do it with just Bluetooth, but we haven't figured out that yet. But when it's hooked up to Wi-Fi, it literally sends a signal to and uses the Wi-Fi every 60 seconds. And when we only have 100 gigs to upload videos for Jen to work and for us to watch the occasional show on the laptop, this sucks up all of that in 1 month.
In like a week.
Yeah, actually, yeah, like 10 days. It sucked up an entire month's worth of data.
Before we had this, that 100 gigs would last us all month.
Yeah, so hopefully there's not something else wrong. I think we determined this was the problem. It's running 24/7.
This has been off for a day, and
our data hasn't gone up at all.
It's gone up like half a gig.
Yeah. So this was sucking up a lot of energy. So that shows you, just like with energy, if you leave a light on all day long, or not lights, because lights don't really count because they are nothing now that they have the new light bulbs.
Coffee maker, like
I just said lights.
Yeah.
But if you had a coffee maker running all day, which you don't, nobody has I'm trying to think. Like even our laptop, like the laptops draw about 60 watts when they're open and charging and running. But we close it down and it just draws like a few watts. So if you had something going all the time, it sucks up energy and data. So we're not using the app right now. I'm sad because I like to see it, but when you're off grid, you don't have hardline internet. So it's going to be a challenge.
We sent a suggestion to SunGold to make the option to change how often it sends data. So
yeah, because we could be happy with once an hour.
Or once a day.
Well, once an hour would give us a general idea. Like the once every 60 seconds was so you could tell exactly how much solar you're producing and exactly how much, like every 60 seconds. You don't need to
know it every single
minute. If you want to track your monthly consumption and your monthly production, yes, you do. So anyway, you can't track consumption, you can't track production if you're not getting a message every 60 seconds. So anyway, we got the new 10 gauge 30 amp wire wired into the inverter charger. Now I could change the settings to go up to like 30 amps, and we could really push some juice into these batteries when we need it this winter.
And it charges them quickly too then, right?
I'm gonna see how fast we could do it, because the generator can do 3,500 watts consistently. It could surge up to 4,500 watts, but so if we could do 3.5 kilowatts, 3,500 watts, it should charge these batteries up in like 4 or 5 hours. But I don't know if the conversion rate is 100%. So let's try it out. All right, guys. So la-di-da-di-da. Sad. Oh no, the power's out. We have no sun for a week. We need some energy to charge up. So la-di-da-di-da. Come out here. Generator's gonna always be here. We have the exhaust facing this way so it doesn't catch anything on fire. We have our cord coming out the back and plugged into our TT30 30 amp plug. Pull the choke out. There we go. We gotta turn the gas on. Let her rip. Go ahead and pull it there. Hot shot, don't hit your head. Alright, push the choke in. Watch your head right at that corner. Over here by the front. So now you know how to do that. Alright? So we don't have, now we have power going to the inverter, but we don't have the switch flipped on yet. Also, if we box that in, like it's not terribly loud right now, but if we box that in nicely, it'll be even quieter. But yeah, let's hit the switch, I guess. So you can hit any button. So no power coming in. Zero power coming in from the main or generator. There's a little power tower and a generator symbol there. Nothing coming in because we have this off. So let's flip this switch. You heard it beep. Got 120 volts coming in. You heard the generator surge up. So now we turn this off. This is the power input. You should hear the generator kick down. So we turned off our generator input. That's so you know it's drawing a good amount. I mean, it's maxed out. It's only a 3,500 watt generator. If we wanted to step up anything higher than that, we'd have to get 50 amp. So watch it surge up. That's good. 3,000 watts into the batteries. We don't need that right now. The batteries are 3/4 full. I think we're gonna have one nice day coming up. It's supposed to be kind of nice today, but it was nicer. It was a little more nice earlier. So there you go. So that generator is working. There we go. You know, previously I'd only run this generator for like 10 hours a winter probably. I used a little tiny generator. For just supplementing, but I need to change the oil, and it looks fine. The oil looks fine, but better to change it. So there we go. Power into the inverter, into the Jenny, all set up. We'll get this all boxed in another time because we got other stuff we want to work on. Happy? Now we'll never be out of power, hopefully.
Yeah, sounds good.
Got to get the kinks out of everything, especially technology, and this stuff's pretty complicated. That's why I was so intimidated by it at first, but we'll figure it out.
Just stuff to learn, but we're always happy to learn.
And it just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Like, things seem simple, you know, and then, you know, you run into snags, but it's all good. Nothing detrimental, right?
Right.
So
I was trying to feed the chickadees, guys, by the hand, because some of y'all told me I could do it. They wouldn't come to me, and I'm a little afraid, so maybe I'll make Jason do it.
Jen's been trying to feed the chickadees for
a couple weeks now.
Yeah, no go, no takers yet.
I'm nervous. I move too much.
Good thing you have your good feeders, right? So
yeah,
you can
I'd like to
see them up close on the cameras at least. So,
thanks for watching the video, guys.
We appreciate you. So we'll
tell
catch
Jason
you.
I did a good job.
Yeah, appreciate that. So,
he did a good job today, guys.
Put it in the comments. You know me, a woot woot for me.
Yeah, give Jason a woot woot.
So appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the next video. Best wishes.
Yep. Bye.